I started pulling a reading, and this is for a collective that is deciding to do something different. You're going outside of the original plan. The original plan is what is expected of you from other people. And I feel like there's something, you had some kind of light bulb. Here's the first card that opened your eyes a little bit, and you realize this isn't really what I want. I'm just moving through the motions because this is what I'm supposed to do. And you realize, why does anyone outside of myself tell me what I'm supposed to do? I mean, obviously, if you have responsibilities, like if you have children, obviously take care of your children. But when it comes to your creativity, your work, how you spend your time, as long as you are taken care of, what does it matter? Right? I just feel like you had this light bulb moment that you're going to go outside the box. And when you decided to do that, you started releasing things that made you feel like you weren't allowed, okay? This card says, release the dark wound and let love in. Because I feel like you realized when you were in that box, you weren't receiving. You weren't receiving your own loving energy. You weren't receiving inspiration, and you weren't able to use your creativity the way that you are now using, okay? Because you chose to focus on the light, and the light is what lights you up. Okay, that's your passion, that's your curiosity, that's your releasing fear to actually explore parts of yourself that may be weird to other people, that may be weird to society, and you chose to focus on the light. So we're gonna pull some more cards on this, because this is a big deal. Because whoever you are, this card really talks about how hard it is to go outside that box, because it's scary, and you were brave to do that, and you're being asked to lean into that and to trust in that decision. The birds are going crazy outside. Maybe you get messages from birds. You opened up to spirituality and you're like quiet about it. You see the signs, you see the synchronicities, and maybe you don't talk about it as much. Maybe you did a lot of shadow work on your own, and now you're getting ready to kind of glow up. I feel like that could be the story we're tapping into here. And that happens for a lot of people. A lot of people, they stop. It's almost like when you grow up, it's like you grow up and you forget the magic of life because of all the responsibilities, but you can still be magical and be responsible, okay? As a matter of fact, you're really more successful when you incorporate that magic of you, that essence that you have in your life, into your everyday things, into the mundane. It's integrating your spirituality with everyday life, integrating your spiritual with your physical. It's a way of living, and it's something that you've learned to do, and you're learning to do even more. And the more you do it, the less shame you have for it, because if you're going down like the spiritual path and you're seeing all these signs and synchronicities, it is unreal. Okay, I've been there. Why do you think I'm out here making these videos? I'm here to let you know that you're not alone, that these things very much are real. And you know, as beautiful and wonderful as it is, yes, there's a whole need for grounding and staying grounded and making sure you're taking care of yourself, your physical life. You don't get stuck in delusions, okay? Because that's part of a thing. There's a whole lesson in discernment. But I think that you guys are past that phase. And I think you're in the integration part. And, you know, as you're on this type of journey, it's up and down and up and down and up and down. Things are really hopeful, but then you go into the shadow work and things seem a little dark. But then you remember and you focus on the light again. And there comes a point where it gets integrated, okay? And I think you're at that integration point. Let's pull some cards. I also think that maybe in the beginning, when you had this light bulb moment, to do whatever, it doesn't even have to be spirituality, but it's just living differently, living outside the norm, living in a way that you don't care if people are going to criticize you. Your shit's taken care of. It doesn't matter, right? Who cares how I do it? It's getting done, and I'm enjoying myself. I'm telling you, you guys, this is for someone who is rigid or like tried really hard to fit in a box when you weren't supposed to in the first place. I think you're being called after a time of release and shadow work to incorporate more of that magic in your life and your living day, like bringing in that daily gratitude, maybe even talking to whatever you think is sending you these signs, right? Your spirit guides, source, God, angels, just, you know, sitting, and every time you see a sign like a big flock of birds or whatever is a sign to you, okay? People can make fun of me all they want about birds, but birds are signs for me. And I sit there and I sit in gratitude, and that opens up my heart space, and it just makes my day better. It just makes my day better. I flow, I feel creative. I want to share more of myself with other people and interact more. And I don't feel like hiding. Yeah, look, going beyond the normal, balancing many obligations at the same time. You can do that you're doing it in your own way is the message. You're learning how to live in this very 3D world with the ideas of what you're learning inwards and your spiritual, right? And it's beautiful. Okay, what else? This is good. This is good. Yeah. And this might have to do with work too. Okay. This is talking about your inner work though, because this came under releasing wounds. You have done so much shadow work. You have done so much just by stepping outside that box. That is scary. Okay. It's like stepping out of the spiritual closet in a way but that alone is shadow work. Okay. People talk about shadow work. Shadow work is facing your fears and looking at it and why you're so fearful of it. And then looking at that and then following it back, you know, to your past, maybe doing inner child work and saying, where did this stem from? Why am I so ashamed of this? Why does it matter what Joe and Bob and Sally think of me? Who cares? You know, I don't think about them. Why are they thinking about me? You know, you've done so much inner work and now it's time to focus on the light. Okay, look at this. We got this sideways, death, transformation. You've had major transformations, okay? So upright death is just like ending of cycles, huge change and liberation and gaining empowerment. And then in reverse, it says stubbornness, stagnation, obsession, immobility. It's like they're talking about this roller coaster I talked about in the beginning. You've been navigating through extreme changes and then extreme stagnation. You'll have cycles of accelerated awakenings, accelerated ascensions, and then you'll be like what I like to call is benched by your spirit team to integrate. And they're letting you know when you're benched to focus on the light, because the shadow work is done. You're integrating that in your life, in your physical, but also in your body, because you are doing this work, this energy you're releasing you're releasing it out of your body too, okay? Yeah, and they want you to focus on optimism right now, because I think that's the main message is be proud of the amount of work you've done, okay? Now is the time to focus on the light. Now is the time to recover from that deep shadow work. Know that this work will be rewarded. Focus on this light. And there's that sunflower. Sunflowers, they face towards the sun, wherever the sun is. Okay, that's why they're called sunflowers. So they're saying, face the light right now, even though there may be a lot of darkness, okay? A lot of darkness, especially going on in our whole world. It literally feels like everything's falling apart. They want you to focus on the light today because you've done a lot of the work that you need to do. And right now you're in an integration phase. You're in that in between. You went through some kind of accelerated awakening and now it's time to let love in. One last card to end this reading. Yeah. You're balancing out right now. Have patience with yourself. Give yourself love. Do something light. Get out of the heaviness of that shadow work. That part is done. You're waiting for the integration right now. You're waiting for the light to manifest in the physical after you did that inner work and you released it. You're waiting for that to show up on the outside of you. And while you wait, there's no point in focusing on the dark. There's nothing more you can do about that today. That doesn't mean in the future. We have our roller coasters, we have our cycles, but today, focus on that light, okay? All right, have a good day, guys.